Hi, I'm Liz Whiteacre, and I'm going to share a poem with you from my new collection, Hindsight 2040. This is called The Spin Cycle at 20. You stack the quarters in tall towers on the washing machine during the spin cycle, guessing which pile will first stop, while the delicates, synthetics, knits, and cottons hit against the walls unbalanced. Hot fabric smells like holiday cooking, comforting as you smooth wrinkles from khaki, crease pants as you fold, fumble with panties in front of strangers, slide bright bras in a hamper, mismatch socks. A singular sock lies in the bottom of the industrial drying machine, wooing a scrap of chewed yellowed paper. You scrutinize the ink. Smeared are the numbers 384665 a combination to a safe which holds figures that would buy Sal's laundromat and tanning salon. No, a social security number of a success whose identity you could assume, or a lotto number, yes, the winning ticket. If you just go to the VP and hand over your dollar or your quarter into a phone machine, if you call an orthodontist, tax collector, video star, mother, mayor, student, gas attendant, politician, child, circus clown, a future, your future, the future, the lost, no left. Paper in your hand is soft like corduroy. The payphone is being used, and this is ridiculous. You are never that lucky. Never that lucky. Leave the paper. Leave the paper where you found it hidden, under the lost socks in the dryer. But what if you did call? What if everyone called that number? Would it be busy, or would the answering machine click? Or would someone answer and say, "Hello, I've been waiting for you"? So that is an example of one way to make your first poetry video, right? Putting yourself on screen helps readers and viewers and listeners connect and kind of see the poet behind the work. I'd like to share a couple tips as you head into your first video of some ways you can stage your video to maybe make it a little bit more engaging for the readers. One thing that you can do is think about how you have your laptop. I'm currently using Zoom to film this, or your cell phone, like where is it placed in front of you? Lifting up, right, your computer so that it faces you rather than looks up at you can be more flattering, but it can also help with eye contact as you work. Thinking about your lighting, right? Making sure that you have a little bit more light on your face rather than having it behind you or having it feel dark can also be more engaging. And you can visit the PowerPoint lecture slides for class that share some other tips that you can do to set yourself up with screen recording or with cell phone recording. So here are two things that I've done. Now, I might introduce myself on this next take, but instead of reading from my paper or from the book, I'm going to read from something that's propped up on my screen, so that way I can have better eye contact with you in the video. So let's give this take a try and see what the difference is. So you wouldn't hit record before you got all set up. We know that. You're getting the behind the scenes, real takes. And I want to make sure that I can see, but I also want to make sure that I'm not watching myself in the video because that can be a little distracting. So here we go. And scene. Hi, I'm Liz Whiteacre, and I'm here to share a poem from my new collection, Hindsight 2040. It's called Hang Dry at 40. Young girl, you used to pick up calls before you understood about solicitors, wrong numbers, robocalls, that serendipity flirts most with the prepared. People positioned to throw a bag over their shoulder and go. Now, oh, so I messed up. Yeah, it happens. Folks, sometimes you need to do a double take. So it's a good idea to make sure that you read, make sure that you have something to hydrate. I have some cold mint tea right now to wet my whistle, and we'll try it one more time, right? Never settle for the first take if it doesn't go the way you want. All right, here we go. I'm finding myself distracting, so I'm going to move my note over a little bit more. Hi, I'm Liz Whiteacre, and I'm here to share a poem from my new collection, Hindsight 2040. It's called Hang Dry at 40. Young girl, you used to pick up calls before you understood about solicitors, wrong numbers, robocalls. That serendipity flirts with the most prepared, people positioned to throw a bag over their shoulder and go. Not the people who just talk adventure on their reels. Now, you check for synthetic blends before you purchase clothing you can wear with the other things you own. Pragmatic items that bend and flex with your body. It's been years since you've unboxed a pair of heels, or ironed, or dry cleaned. Not out of laziness, but delicates take time, extra care you don't find to give. You'd rather shake loose a shirt straight out of your backpack, pull it over your head, and move on to the next thing. Linger over moments, not the instructions for care. All right, hopefully a little better. I'll know when I watch it again. So I'm preparing this for class. But just a few things, better lighting, making sure that you're looking up rather than having your choice of video kind of looking up at your face. And then also making sure you read it a few times before you go, making sure you re-record if you have a stumble. Those can all set yourself up for success. Now, you don't have to show your face, right? And you don't have to introduce a collection. If you want to just say, here's my poem, or I'm an Indianapolis poet, you can do it that way. At the end, you could say, thank you for your time. You can find my work here or there if you have something maybe coming out in etchings. You can also choose to have readers focus on the screen with graphics. And that is a way you could approach your video as well. So I'm going to show you two examples of that as well. One that works and one that might work a little bit better. I'm coming to share screen. Okay. Again, I appreciate doing this on something like Zoom, only because I find when I'm working with Google Meet that the not having any guests in the call with me, sometimes it can end before before I finished a video like this. I'm going to come to my full screen. Now, for the purposes of class, I'm leaving myself up in the corner. You can do that as well. Just make sure when you are preparing your PowerPoint slides that you don't have text behind where you're going to put yourself. It usually sits in the top right corner. And be just as mindful of your body language, right? Sitting up straight. If you want to gesture, you can. But remember, you're on screen, so you still don't want to be all down. You can also choose not to show yourself and just show the PowerPoint with your voice, and that is a great way to go about it too. All right, so here we go. We're going to give it a try again. I'm doing different poems each time just so that you don't keep hearing the same thing over and over again. Trying to be mindful of audience. So, hi, my name is Liz Whiteacre. I'm an Indianapolis poet, and I'd like to share this poem with you, Wedding Ring Pattern at 20. While lying beneath patches of bright cotton, subdued by the dark, faint shadows etch nostalgic shapes on the wall. Behind eyelids, I can see the silhouette of your face. Nighttime conjures the hum of your exhales syncopated with the running radiator. I cannot distinguish the curve of your shoulder from the quilt's exhausted sag as it cradles the sleepy feather pillow your head once rested on. Okay. It's always good to give yourself a moment of smiling as you turn off record and also smiling as you turn on record to give yourself a little bit of wiggle room at both ends of the video. So here I am presenting the entire poem with a graphic. I could choose to share that this is actually the quilt that my mom made that the poem is about. So you're welcome to provide a little bit of information about the graphic if you want, or again, you don't have to. And then I'm going to share this with you again, a different poem with the same graphic. So you get a sense of what it's like if you don't give the entire poem to your readers and viewers and listeners. Here, your readers can get ahead of you. I mean, they can read faster than you are speaking the poem, especially if you're, kind of doing a pace that's a little bit slower than what their pace is. They can end before you end. And something when I don't know, when I am a viewer myself, or when I'm preparing a poem like this that I'm going to share by video and I want people to focus on the text, I will prepare my slides so that they are just getting a little bit, maybe one stanza at a time, or if it's a really short poem, you might have one line at a time so that they are pacing with you, right? And any surprises that might come up in the poem are going to be surprises, right? So here we go. Log Cabin, Pattern at 40 by Liz Whiteacre. That's me. While smoothing wrinkles from blocks of soft flannel lit by the sun, I remember his hand twining mine, new rings glinting in late afternoon, hands cutting rectangles, building squares in solid rows together. Tonight, we will pull this thick quilt over weary shoulders, bend our bodies into a crescent moon before our home's lullaby of rushing air and ticking clocks hushes us to sleep. Right. Thank you for listening. So here I am kind of doling out the poem. I've made the text a little bit larger so that if you're looking at it on like a YouTube screen, on a big TV, or if you're looking at it on your phone, it's a little bit easier to read. I've also put a square with a little bit of a transparent filter behind it so that the white screen makes that pattern behind the words a little bit more muted, so that way the text can be easier to read. I also chose to keep the title and my name down at the bottom right in a consistent spot, so that way after the title screen, you're still being reminded this is the poem, this is the poet who created it at the end of the video. You could even choose to do a thank you for listening type thing, or check out my work as a closing as well. So this was just, I don't know, a showing you the product of the choices that you could make as you prepare to share one of your poems from your collection with us. Lots of different ways to go about it. And again, if you check out the PowerPoints, there are actual like how to and more, I don't know. I was going to do that, and I decided to do this instead. I thought that this might be a little bit more fun, and you might have stronger opinions about how the performance is wet that might help you make decisions about what you want to do in your video. So I look forward to your feedback, and I cannot wait to see your video of a poem from your brand new chapbook or collection to celebrate the end of us time together in our class. Thank you for watching. And again, it can take a minute to turn off the videos. And so, yeah, have that nice big smile.